Sorry about that, man. We had a technical difficulty, so we're gonna start from the beginning. So this whole conversation is gonna be recorded, so we can report it
Sure.
or record and that for you. So to get started, man, once again, this is DJ Money Matt with Stop B from Radio. I appreciate you taking time to do this interview with me today. Can you tell the fans and listeners who you are and where you're from?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Tom, aka DJ Tom Select. I'm originally born in Germany. Like 10 years ago or so, moved to Switzerland, and now I'm based out of Switzerland, the very southern part, very close to the Italian border. So it's kind
Yep.
of like the Florida of Switzerland. It's pretty hot in comparison to the rest of the country. So and that's where I'm currently living, and that's where the studio is.
Okay, dope. And what made you decide you wanted to pursue being in the music industry and choosing this for your career?
We had a lot of like music at home. So my parents were like from the like say the hippie era. They had a lot of records like the Beatles stuff and Joe Cocker and whatnot. I mean Bob Dylan and so on. And I started listening to a lot of records when I was very small as a kid, and then I got drum lessons or so when I was like 5. Did that for like 10
Okay.
years, and I was always into music and drumming on everything I found. So, and then at some point in time, I came across the first like DJs on television, mostly Run DMC,
Okay.
because that's the only stuff you saw on European television as far as hip hop was concerned at the time. Was the first like mainstream band, and when I saw the guys like or J Master J
Yep.
first time like scratching records, that fascinated me, and I wanted to understand what that is and how it works and where these crazy sounds come from, and then having access to the records at home. So I think what most DJs did, I took some of the records from the parents' shelf and started
Yeah.
on a turntable that wasn't manufactured for it. Started practicing with those precious old Beatles records.
So you were scratching up those classic Beatle records that right now probably worth millions of dollars. So
Not millions, but my mom hated me for it. Yeah.
yeah, my parents hated me too because I was doing the same thing. I love music, and you always want to listen to the stuff and figure out how you can chop it up. Now, with you being from Switzerland and Germany, shout out my homie DJ Rapture. We've been following the Germany dance scene, music scene for a while, man.
Yeah.
What's it like being being on the international scene and pursuing music? You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, so a lot of people in the United States don't understand how much love there is for hip hop culture and everything internationally. But for your viewpoint, what's it like to be an international person getting into the industry? Do you think it made it harder or easier for you?
I think from like access to technology, studios, and maybe infrastructure, it's most likely easier over here, and cost related. It was also, I think, cheaper over here to get into music and have music lessons and whatnot, or getting access to instruments and technology. I think that was easier over here. And then also I think from a cultural point of view, it's a very different approach as to what Europeans understand in terms of hip hop. I mean, the early German stuff, the lyrics are something completely different. It's a very different world than obviously the music that was like formed in an oppressed society. I mean, at the time it was really a political expression, like in the US. So, and it's a very different story. It's a very different culture. Over here, it was way more colorful and funnier and happier in Germany than, at least lyrics wise, than in the US, where it was really like street news, and our streets are not that dangerous. So it's at least at the time. So the content was different. And it's obviously it's at least in the very beginning it was a business dominated by the legends, the golden era types of. If you come across like me, like I'm a small like white guy between all these guys. If I was on the US, I was traveling a lot in the US, so if I was there and met some guys, then they're always taller, like in the business. You're not taken that serious sometimes, in that space. But you have to come. That's the good thing of about hip hop. You are measured against your skills. So you might be from a different background. You might have a different color, a different religion. That doesn't really matter. In hip hop, it really counts what you can do, the skills. So and then in the end, I think that mostly the beats or the work then convince people of something being hip hop, and wanted to collaborate on a track or making songs together, across the ocean.
Yep. When I first started, I was helping book the anger management tour. Shout out to Q from World Star Hip Hop, and I learned very early that people don't understand the impact that Akon had internationally. Like he was big on our side on our side, but internationally, Akon was a legend before we even heard of Locked Up. And then 50 Cent kind of went that same path. He focused on that international music. We all hear about Switzerland and how beautiful it is. What's the experience like for you? You're in this place where everybody knows it's beautiful women, it's beautiful culture, everything's great. How's that experience for you though, seeing it firsthand? Because like I said, we're from Indianapolis in the United States, so a lot of people who's going to see this, they've never even been to Switzerland. So for you, what's your country like when people come out there and the experience?
I mean, it has pros and cons like every other place in the world. I've
Okay.
been because of I mean, over here. Let's start with that. You can definitely not easily make a living of music. If you're not
Yeah.
like in the top 10, top 20, top 50 artist range, you have to have a different job. So
Yeah.
I always had a different job working on something else, and for that reason, I was traveling like basically the entire world and saw and lived in like 15, 20 countries or so. And then coming back to Switzerland or Germany, especially Switzerland, it always feels like a small island where like everything is
Mm,
pretty perfect, super secure.
yeah.
There's rarely unemployment. There's all these other problems that you have somewhere. There's rarely pollution somewhere. You can on a
Yeah.
highway you find a restroom and it's actually clean. You can use it.
Yeah.
So all these small differences, compared to other countries. I've lived in Tel Aviv, in Boston,
Mm,
in South Africa. So I mean, compared to those places, it's like heaven. It's like
yeah.
infrastructure. But on the other hand, society and let's say yeah, the society, it has other challenges. Like there's
Yeah.
more peer pressure, and you're maybe not that free in terms of deciding your career path. I think in the US that's
Okay.
why it's maybe still kind of the land of the free. I think you have more opportunities to
Yeah.
just be who you are and find, be more entrepreneurial and maybe do something on your own. Just start something over. If it doesn't work, you fail once, you do it twice, you start a third time maybe, and that's a very different mentality, and that also reflects, I think, on the society, the infrastructure. So it has a lot of pros, but there's also a lot of cons. It's still worth visiting, though. It's you should have seen it.
Yeah. Now you said you traveled for your job and you've been privileged to go all over the world. With you being a DJ slash producer, did that give you kind of insight to some of the sounds that maybe other people in your line may have never heard? Like you said, you've been to Tel Aviv, you've been all these other locations, and some of the sounds are more dominant in those places. Have you been able to implement different sounds into your production that other people never heard of because of your travels?
If not sure if they never heard of, but it's definitely a great source. I mean, traveling, you find all these flea markets and weird
Yeah.
small, like record shops in areas you would never have been to if it wasn't for traveling there because of other reasons. So, and then you spend the
Yeah.
weekend digging for records or going to concerts, meeting artists, and obviously that is a big advantage. So a lot of the stuff over here in at least the lower shelves is stuff from foreign countries where I pick
Yeah.
samples from. But I think the production still sounds pretty. It sounds straightforward boom bap mostly. I mean, that's what I usually did until the 2018 or so. I changed a little bit as far as the musical style is concerned. But I think the traveling helped a lot, finding different samples and not having to use the standard stuff. And on the other hand, I met a lot of people, especially traveling the
Yeah.
US. That's where I got all these nice connections from, and where I met a lot of friends that actually made the current project, the CeeLo project, partially happen. That got me in touch with other artists. So I had songs with Inspector Deck and Planet Asia, Sea Race Walls, and Copyright, and Chino XL, and you don't know. I mean, a ton of
Oh,
stuff. Corrupt. And that would never have been possible if I wouldn't have been to the US meeting, people in person. That is a very different story than doing it over the internet and remotely.
now, I was privileged to be introduced to you by M80. Shout out to my fan, man. He speaks very highly of you and talks about how great of a producer you are and businessman you are. How did you and M80 link up, and what made you guys decide you wanted to start, working together and creating this dope music you guys do?
Yeah, I know Matt since about a decade, I think, more than a decade.
Okay.
And I think we met initially, actually, it was still remotely. We met on MySpace when that still existed. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
he had a profile, I had a profile for our band, and I think we just got 100,000 or so, like, what was it called? Followers at the time? I don't know.
Yeah.
Friends. Yeah, followers.
Friends. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So we had 100,000 and we were really happy. And then we thought, let's now connect some to some US, based people
Mhm.
and see if we can do some collaboration overseas, like doing something with English speaking MCs instead of only our stuff in German or French that we had.
Yeah.
And then at that time, I found Matt's profile and I wrote him, and we got in touch over MySpace, and then actually did the first track. And he was not used to doing features, just for fun
Mhm.
at the time. So he was working on his stuff, and but
Yep.
we actually made it happen, and we made a track. And then later on, when I went to the US, we met in person several times. He took me to concerts that he had organized and stuff. So we met a lot of people there. And then he went and came over to Switzerland, like 3 or 4 times for the
Okay.
for we have it's the biggest hip hop festival in Europe, is Frauenfeld Open Air. And they have a 3 days lineup with hundreds of artists, and like headliners like Jay-Z and Pharrell and Snoop and all these guys, and then in between there's Mobb Deep and Sean
Yeah.
Price and whatnot. So everybody that somehow has a name appears on that weekend. And
Yep.
Matt was here like 3 times. We spent the weekends together, and have, I think, worked on a dozen or so songs. And he's a great guy. And but
Yeah.
without traveling and without meeting in person, it would have never become that close of a relationship that it is now.
Right.
So.
Yep. No, I definitely agree, man. He does a lot for people, artists, producers, and getting those features. You speak about the festivals, man. We all know in the United States we have some big festivals, but I know internationally your guys' festivals are legendary. Like you guys have full cities almost worth of festivals. What's the experience for you when you go to a festival and out of in the international that is different from what you've seen when you've been to the United States?
The backstage area, the,
Mm,
the
yeah.
backstage area in the US, and I was making a lot of fun with that about that with Matt when he was here, like first time in Switzerland, and saw our backstage area, because in the US it's packed. Everybody that somehow has something to do with
Everybody's somebody.
anybody that knows someone is going to get access to the backstage area. Over here, it's like straight. Like there is the backstage area is pretty empty. There's only the artists and people with those
Mm,
VIP passes. So, and it's really tough to get in. So
yeah,
if you're not on the guest list and have any, like any role to play, any show to perform, you usually don't get in. So that is really the major difference. And then I think especially Switzerland, they have a lot of money, for
yeah,
infrastructure. So the festival over here, they have lockers, they have VIP tents, they have stuff that I have never seen on any other festivals in the world, like just because it's expensive to put that there for like 3 days and then remove it all,
yeah,
like for until next
yeah.
year. So infrastructure wise, it's really sometimes different. But the major difference is the backstage area.
Now, we were introduced by M80, as I said, and he hit me. He said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my friend Tom. He's really dope." And then he said, "Oh, he's pushing this song," and I was like, "Okay, cool, that's dope." And then it's CeeLo's new single. I'm like, "Oh my god, like this shit is phenomenal!" Like when as a DJ, when you hear a song, in the first 5 to 10 seconds if it's a hit. I put that on, and as soon as he just started harmonizing, I'm like, man, this is gonna be a classic. It kind of reminds me of Pharrell with Happy. You know what I mean? It's got that vibe to it, it's got that feel. How did you and CeeLo link up, and what made him or you decide you wanted to collaborate to make this dope song?
Yeah, actually, the fact was that Matt got in touch. I mean, different. The project actually started. We are releasing it now, or we released it now. 10th of June was the single release date. But that project started in 2018 or so. When
Mm,
there was an idea for that song. and Matt got in touch with CeeLo's management and established a connection, and from there it basically started, because they had this song idea and I heard it first time for just a few seconds, and as you said, I immediately fell in love with the melody that they had in mind, and then we got in touch with CeeLo's management and CeeLo, and there was a first recording session where the instruments were recorded, so it's actually analog guitars, analog drums were recorded, and so on. But that didn't finish the song, so then we did there was a second studio session, and then the second verse got recorded, and the arrangement, you know, came to shape, because it wasn't clear if that's a CeeLo solo joint or if there's somebody else on it. Maybe we didn't know at that point in time how it would turn out or what we wanted to do with it, but in the end it's just CeeLo performing, and it's amazing. You know, I love the song. I did fall in love with the idea of what the lyrics are and what the concept is, and I mean, just the beat is fantastic. The only thing that got replaced from the analog session was the drum set, because that was really in that initial session, it was too hard rock style. I mean, for my feeling, it was too tough for the song. So that was then later on in the final arrangement and production was replaced with a drum machine, keeping the same drum pattern though, but sound wise. So that's how that initial, you know, connection came about, and how the idea basically was established. And then, sorry.
I was gonna say, what made you guys call it Beautiful and then Full at the end? Because I think that's really dope how you did that, because it separates it from other songs out there. He's acting a fool, and it's a beautiful day. Like, how did you guys come up with that title, and how did people react when they first heard you were gonna do it this way? Because it's a different spelling, so it kind of throws people off at first.
That's true. And I was actually a bit disappointed doing an internet search after calling the song like that, and finding out that there are some other songs calling this. I mean, obviously somebody else had that nice idea before. So, but anyway, it's still a good idea. And it's the reason for the title is basically the song, the lyrics, you know, because the lyrics, they have different layers to it. But in the end, if you listen closely and you watch the video, it's about, you know, self-esteem. It's about overuse of social media, and you know, having a constant need and even an addiction to comparing your life with the life of others, which then in the end pretty makes you unhappy. You know, like, I mean, it's not the way it should be, and that's not the way you're supposed to look at yourself. And then he plays nice with these metaphors in the lyrics and tells a nice story to it. And then if you watch the actual video, the visuals, then it really makes sense. And one of the major magazines, Eventim in Europe, just, you know, posted an article like last week about exactly that concept, and how they appreciated that CeeLo is addressing that topic, even though if it's in metaphors, but it's still clear what he's talking about. And that's why Beautiful, because in the end, you know, like the wordplay made sense as to what the storyline is of his lyrics.
Yep. And I love the hook or the intro to it. Walk up to a hater, say, "Hey, I'm having a beautiful, wonderful day." It's like, it's perfect for this TikTok era. Everything's about, you know, kind of, you know, capping and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm just going to walk up to you. I don't care if you like me or not. I'm having a wonderful day. F what you talking about. And then
there's some nice irony.
I think people
There's some nice irony, and he's dope, you know, doing that. He was dope in his old Goody Mob lyrics, doing, you know, great. He had great lyrics, and did this irony that he also had in his hits, you know, like "fuck you" or so, and all that stuff. He plays a lot with those words and with emotions, and that really made it a dope joint. And also, I mean, as you said, it's just, you know, a nice summer tune, and I think something that is sustainable over time. You know, it's not something that you hear like twice and then you put it aside. It's something that I had to listen to like 1,000 times while producing and arranging and whatnot. So, and I still like the song, which is amazing, because I like it more than any other song that I've produced before, that I listened as much as to that one. So
it does what I love about music in the beginning. Like you said, the golden era, you had to listen to a song 3 or 4 times in order to catch everything the artist was saying. And every time I hear that song, you know, I'm playing it for the DJs, I'm sending it all these places, I'm hearing it multiple times. Like you said, I pick up new nuances or new word plays he used, and it sounded simple at first, but now I'm like, oh, that
Yes.
tied to that, and that's this, and it's really dope. And I don't think he's done a project in a while, so it's kind of perfect, like having him be the front for this, because we introduce it with a drop from CeeLo, so it shows it immediately, like, yo, this is a real song that CeeLo is behind. What
Sure.
was it like for you when you get that drop from CeeLo saying, "This is my new single"? I'm fully backing this project.
Sure. I mean, we were closely in touch with all his like team. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people around him that do different things, and we were closely in touch with a lot of them, and they really supported the project because they also found that the whole concept is a nice and very unique thing. Because in the end, it's not just a radio single. It's a music video. It comes
Yep.
with a short film, so it's pretty much it's like a cartoon with dubbed with normal cartoon sounds like you would have on a Hanna-Barbera movie
Yep.
or something. And it's a mobile exposition. So there's an art exposition that is actually just now getting like structured and built up, and it's opening doors next week. So it will be there will be an art exposition showing all these like 3D objects, the actual paintings, because as the song is, the video music video is even more complex. If you
Yeah.
like watch closely and you stop it, at some specific frames, it consists of a dozen of techniques. There's
Okay.
paintings, there's actual photography from different cities, from Switzerland, from Colombia, from the US. And it's all combined in that one like very unique look, and it looks very raw, and it's like it's called simple animation. That's how animation started in the like early times of animated film. But
Okay.
it's mixing all these different like things and textures, and that island that they are driving around on at
Yeah.
the very beginning, that exists as a 3D model like that size, and then
Oh wow.
you can actually look at it, and that's what the exposition is. So it's an entire project, not just a radio single, and that's what I think the CeeLo's team appreciated as well, and what he liked about it. So being just not just being an artist, but now he's art. He's in a gallery. The pictures are on the wall on the gallery, and are being shown to the public now. So I think that's what also made it unique, and what fascinated CeeLo a bit more than just having a feature song or like a single out.
Yep. And I love that you guys are making it. You're taking the single and you created a short film with it, and then you're
You
hello.
back?
Okay, yeah, your was fading out. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But yeah, like I said, I like that you took the song, made a short video, a short film, and you know what I mean. With that, what else are you guys going to be doing, and when is the short video available for people to check it out? Or I'm sorry, short film going to be available for people to check it out?
It's all available on the homepage. So, I mean, there's a homepage, syncfloyd.com, sync-floyd.com. So the official music video is on that page. The short film, at the YouTube version of the short film, is on that page. So it's going to have stereo sound there. And you find all the other information and the link tree to all the platforms. But the actual short film obviously has a Dolby 5.1 like surround sound to it. So
Okay.
it's going to be shown in different cinemas. So at short film festivals in Europe first. I'm not quite sure how that works out with the US, and if we will be able to actually place it there somewhere for short film festivals or so. But I guess it should be possible in at least one or two spots. Should be coming up somewhere towards end of the year, or maybe next spring. But at the moment, the focus of the short film and the art exhibition is more on the European side, and then we'll see
Okay.
how that develops, and if we can move it over to the US as well. And then we'll work on the next singles that are in the pipeline. So we've established, CeeLo was the artist kicking it off. We established this visual world now. and the concept, the art concept, and every other single is going to be kind of similar. It's all going to be a visual that is based on some like cartoon character, and you might see, I don't know. So if Snoop Dogg does a joint there, he would be showing up as an art like a cartoon character, and having his like 3.5 minutes story and short film. So we'll see how that develops. But the next single should be out in like 3 months or so. So that's kind of the rhythm that we're looking for to come up with the new project.
I love that it's a cartoon because I have kids and I can show them this video and they love the video. They see the little dog in there. They don't know who CeeLo is. They just see this little dog in the car driving, having a good time. It's like, it's good, fun music, man. So I salute you on that. I know you're a busy person, so I'm not going to take too much more of your time. But if people want to get a hold of you, DJs want to get the record, what's the best way to contact you? And then if they want to build with you or anything like that, what are you looking for from somebody before they reach out to you?
Pretty much everyone can feel free to contact me. So I'm not looking for anything specific. Easiest way to connect is either on Instagram. You can write me here, or then my homepage. There's a homepage also for me, djtomselect.com. So there's a contact form and an email address, so you can use that. If you go to the Floyd homepage, it goes to that band. So I'm just like the manager and executive producer there, but I'm not the band. So easiest way is djtomselect.com, or like Instagram or Twitter or something.
Dope. And then, man, the DJs are loving it. You got Strong Side Radio coming on at 9:45 today. Shout out my DJ Manny Fresh Faces. We're looking forward to that. And then all the feedback I'm getting is amazing. There's not been nothing negative about this song. It's just people are excited to have a positive song with great production, great singing from CeeLo, and a great message, man. So I salute you on that. Anything else you want to let the people know? And we'll go ahead and let you get on to your day so you can get ready for this next interview.
No, glad about the feedback. Appreciate having me on, and appreciate that you like the song and you support the release of the single, and appreciate you having me. Have all good for now. So thanks for talking, and I'll think we stay in touch. So.
Definitely, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to have a lot more for you. The internet's been acting up. I apologize for that. But like I said, I'm going to save this. You're going to see I'm going to blow up your timeline just like I have already. But this will be your interview. We'll chop it up, and we'll keep letting people know about this dope single. DJs, media, publicists, anything. If you want to get this new single, get at me or get at Tom, and we'll make sure you get the records.
Sure, will do. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate the support again.
Definitely, man. Have a good night.
You have a good one.
Yes, peace.